When we think of a bicycle, we often envision a two-wheeled object that transports us from point A to point B in a matter of minutes, or perhaps even longer. However, in reality, a bicycle is composed of numerous distinct parts. Let's take a closer look at the bicycle and examine the components that make it up, as well as how they work together to help us travel, cycle, or simply enjoy ourselves. When it comes to bicycles, the frame is a crucial component that determines the model and brand. In this case, we have a Fuji bicycle, which is primarily designed for commuting in the city and features a suspension fork at the front. As you can see, it's a fairly basic bike that closely resembles many of the other bicycles you might see around town. However, aside from the frame, what else does it include? Well, first of all, there's the saddle, a seemingly small part, but one that's obviously essential for sitting and trying out the bike. Moving on from the saddle, we have the seat post, which is essentially just an iron pipe that fits into the frame and is secured in place by a seat clamp, like the one you can see here. Continuing towards the front of the bike, we reach the handlebars, although, technically speaking, we don't actually grip the handlebars themselves. Rather, we hold onto the grips. In this case, the grips are aftermarket, with special locks that make them more comfortable and easier to handle while cycling around the city. They are mounted on both sides, along with a ringing bell, which is highly recommended for use in the city. Moving down the handlebars, we come to a special type of control, a combined command that includes both the shifter for changing speeds and the brake lever. You can see the lever here, which connects to the brake line, one of the two lines extending from the lever. The other is the shifter line, which connects to the front derailleur. We also have a similar lever on the other side, which controls the rear brake and the rear derailleur, which we'll take a closer look at in a moment. After the handlebars, we have the stem, the part that connects the handlebars to the bike frame. In this case, the stem can be adjusted and rotated to another position, as you can see by the degree to which it's adjusted. Moving down to the front of the bike, we have the fork, specifically the fork pipe, which goes through the head tube of the frame where you can usually see the bike's brand name. This pipe continues down to the front wheel, which has several components, including a disc brake, like the one you can see here. The small device responsible for braking is called the brake caliper, and the brake line is connected to it, linking it to the lever for the front brake. Moving to the back of the bike, we come to a feature that's specific to this particular model: the bicycle racks. As you can see, these metal structures are bolted onto the frame and provide a convenient way to carry additional luggage while cycling. Beyond the racks, we have the rear brake, which is a typical V-brake as opposed to the disc brake on the front. Many people might say that a bike has pedals, but in reality, only one part of the bicycle is called pedal. The crankset is the main component, and the tiny part attached to it is the bottom bracket. On the other side of the bicycle, there's a front derailleur, which helps shift the speeds on the front ring. The rear derailleur and hanger form a more complex system at the back, with a small metal part that is often underestimated by new cyclists. The bicycle chain is one of the most famous components, as it runs from the rear to the front rings and helps control the bike's movement and effort. At the back, the only major difference is the rear cassette, a series of rings that help move the chain. Changing to a smaller front ring makes it easier to pedal, while changing to a larger one requires more effort. The wheel is more complex than it seems at first glance. The bike rim is the metal part that supports the outside tire, and we inflate the pressure of the tire and the bike rim through a small valve. The center of the wheel is the hub, which is a rotating device in the middle. For regular commuters, a quick-release skewer is essential, a small lever that allows us to remove and replace the front or rear tire easily. The spokes attach the central hub to the rim, and the small nipples at the end of each spoke can be tightened to adjust the rim's balance. This is crucial for the bike's wear and tear. However, it's essential to have a front light for safety, especially if cycling in the dark. While this bike has an expensive light, it's often removed when commuting during the day to prevent theft. The back has a tiny rear light, but it's enough to be visible at night with today's LED lights. It's crucial to choose a light that's not too weak if cycling in the dark.